So when it comes to someone losing interest in you, that is, they're interested, then they're not. They're hot, then they're cold. They're all in, then they're all out. There are easy answers as to why, and then there are the real answers. And I'm not a fan of saying men do this and women do that because I think the world and people are far too complicated to make generalizations. But I will say that I found through my own life that men tend to lose interest because they're often unaware of their attachment styles. They're unaware of why their intuition, their conditioning encourages hesitation. They're unaware of their why, and they're also unaware of their partners. And that is what causes men to retreat and to act on that hesitation. So there is a deeper why here that affects men and women and everyone, that once you understand it though, it frees you up to realize that if someone loses interest in you, it is 100% a reflection of them and not you. So it's a story as old as time. You meet someone, you get along, you go on a couple of dates, you hook up, things are fun, things are carefree, all signs point to this being a relationship with potential. But then you enter month 2, and suddenly that person becomes more distant. They're no longer the first to reach out. They're tough to get a hold of. And slowly but surely it becomes obvious that their interest has dissolved. So why does this happen? Well, this is just my observation, but I found that men do this more often than women. They're not ghosting, but they're slowly and intentionally allowing the relationship to fizzle out. Why? Why do men do this? Well, let's get the easy answers out of the way. Answer 1 would be the most obvious, that he just realized he's not that into you, and unfortunately for you, he doesn't have the courage to tell you, to have an awkward conversation and just get it over with. Another answer would be something's holding him back. He's not healed from something in his past, maybe his ex, whatever it may be, but whatever it is, he's not ready for commitment, and he lacks the maturity to tell you. Another answer could be he's the kind of person who enjoys the chase and nothing more. Or maybe he found someone else. There's not much you could do about that. Or maybe his intuition is driving him to lose interest, and he's listening to it unchecked. And this is what I want to dive into here, because I've noticed the difference between how men and women view relationships, specifically early stage relationships, and how intuition dictates follow through. I've learned and I've observed through my own life that a man tends to enjoy a relationship in the moment. He could be 100% committed and intentional and honest and all of the qualities you look for, but what he enjoys is the here and now of the relationship. He enjoys that there's no timeline and there's no pressure. And I found that while women obviously also enjoy this, a relationship without pressure, there is an additional element that is important to women, namely reassurance for the future. Reassurance that you're not wasting your time. Reassurance, just an agenda that looks to progress the relationship forward in a clear way. And as much as a guy can genuinely be ready and is dating with intention, the idea of an agenda can lead him to hesitate. When a guy is pressured out of the moment and into reality where he needs to make progression clear, that is when he's faced with a crossroads. It's a crossroads where the fun, no pressure nature of the relationship is suddenly forced to progress. And that is where a man starts to potentially lose interest, because his intuition, his conditioning, is making him question if he's actually ready. And I've found that when that happens, a lot of men err on the side of caution. When they sense an imbalance in expectations, men have this inclination to retreat. That is what I found. And of course, I don't think this is the right response. And I certainly think that anything in life that means growth is going to be uncomfortable. But in the instance where a man loses interest, I have found this observation to be relevant. So where does this leave us? Well, I think we need to realize that there's always going to be some kind of imbalance in the early stages of a relationship. But that imbalance in expectations or differences in attachment styles, it doesn't mean that someone is right and someone is wrong. Notice I said attachment styles. I'm sure you've heard this term. It's how we relate to others in the context of a relationship. Maybe you've heard the terms secure or anxious or avoidant or dismissive. There's been a lot of studies done on the topic of attachment styles, conditioning, upbringing, past to adulthood, men versus women. And a lot of these studies have found that men tend to be more avoidant and less anxious than women. And as a result, to my point, rather than dealing with the anxieties and discomfort that naturally come up with relationships, men have this inclination to retreat. Men are often unaware of this fact. Why? They're unaware of why their intuition is encouraging hesitation. They're unaware of their own attachment styles. And they're also unaware of their partners. And that is what I found causes men to retreat unnecessarily. And I don't think there's a huge fundamental difference between men and women, but I do think men tend to be unaware of how attachment styles affect relationships. And that lack of awareness causes them to take a step back when faced with expectations from a partner. Men tend to see imbalance as a sign that they should retreat. But we need to realize that imbalance in the early stages of a relationship doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the relationship. Not at all. It's not a red flag that he's just in the moment. It doesn't mean he's not genuinely excited about the future. It's not a red flag that she wants reassurance. It doesn't make her needy or overeager. Both are right. Both simply exist within a relationship from different perspectives. So know this. You can't force someone to just exist in the present and not think about the future. And you also can't force someone to provide reassurance for the future. If someone loses interest in you and they retreat because of their lack of self-awareness, you have to let them. You deserve someone who is in touch with their why and your why, and who doesn't back down when challenged or made uncomfortable. The reality of life is that in the same way you can't force someone to see what you bring to the table, you can't force someone to be self-aware. You can't force someone to be self-aware of why they're doing what they're doing. You can't force self-awareness on someone. Take the compassion you have for yourself, take the self-awareness that you have developed for yourself, and celebrate it. It is a gift. It is a gift to know who you are, what you need, and to know that if someone doesn't respond to it in the way that you want, you should continue looking, because I guarantee you there is someone out there who wouldn't retreat and who would celebrate your expectations alongside of you.